It was the dawn of the 20th century, a time of elegance, opulence, and the shadow of impending conflict. In the heart of Europe, as the world danced on the edge of a knife, there emerged a woman who would become the embodiment of intrigue and seduction, a name that would echo through history as a symbol of mystery and scandal. Her name was Mata Hari. But Mata Hari was not always a name whispered in the halls of power or shouted in the headlines of Europe's grand newspapers. She was born Margaretha Geertruida Zell in 1876, in the quiet town of Leeuwarden, in the Netherlands. Margaretha's childhood was marked by a sense of adventure but also by loss. Her father, once a prosperous hatmaker, fell into financial ruin. Her mother passed away when Margaretha was just 15, leaving her adrift in a world that suddenly seemed both vast and unforgiving. Longing to escape the confines of her small-town life, Margaretha made a bold and fateful decision. At the age of 18, she married Rudolf MacLeod, a Dutch colonial army officer more than 20 years her senior. She left behind the familiar world of her childhood and sailed to the Dutch East Indies, where she would be immersed in a culture as exotic and mysterious to her as she would later become to the world. In the East, Margaretha found herself captivated by the rich cultural tapestry around her. The rhythms of the traditional dances, the vivid colors of the sarongs, the intricate rituals of the local people, these became the threads with which she would later weave her own legend. But the life of a colonial wife was not the fairy tale she had imagined. Her marriage was marred by infidelity and abuse, and the tragic death of her young son shattered what remained of her fragile world. After the collapse of her marriage, Margaretha returned to Europe, a single mother, with little more than the clothes on her back and a fierce determination to start anew. Paris called to her, the city of lights, where dreams were made and broken. It was here, amidst the bohemian cafes and glittering theaters, that Margaretha Zell would be reborn. She became Mata Hari, a name that she claimed meant Eye of the Day in Malay. But to the audience that gathered in the smoky, dimly lit theaters of Paris, Mata Hari was much more than a name. She was an enigma, a vision of the exotic, who danced with a sensuality and freedom that defied the conventions of her time. Draped in sheer fabrics, adorned with jewels, and moving with an almost otherworldly grace, she captivated all who watched her. Her performances were not merely dances, they were stories of gods and goddesses, of ancient rituals and lost civilizations. She claimed to have learned these dances in the sacred temples of Java, though in truth, much of her story was a fabrication, a carefully crafted tale to enhance her mystique. But to the men who flocked to see her, it didn't matter. They were entranced, not just by her beauty, but by the air of mystery that surrounded her. Who was this woman who seemed to transcend the boundaries of East and West, of reality and fantasy? As Europe was plunged into the horrors of World War I, Mata Hari's life took a darker turn. The world of glittering parties and adoring audiences gave way to a world of secrets, lies, and suspicion. Her connections to powerful men across Europe, military officers, diplomats, and nobility drew the attention of the authorities. In a time when trust was as scarce as peace, Mata Hari became a target. In 1917, the French secret police arrested her in Paris, accusing her of espionage. The charges were grave. Mata Hari, they claimed, was a double agent, passing secrets to the Germans in exchange for money and luxury. But was she truly a spy, or merely a woman caught in the web of a world at war? The truth remains elusive, buried in the layers of propaganda and paranoia that defined the era. Her trial was nothing short of a spectacle, a theater of accusations and innuendo, where the line between fact and fiction was all but erased. The prosecution painted her as a dangerous femme fatale, a woman whose charms had led to the deaths of thousands. The defense argued that she was simply a dancer, a woman whose only crime was living a life of excess in a time of austerity. But in the end, the verdict was a foregone conclusion. Mata Hari was found guilty and sentenced to death. On the morning of October 15, 1917, Mata Hari was led to a lonely field outside Paris. She refused a blindfold, meeting the eyes of her executioners with the same unflinching grace that had captivated audiences across Europe. As the shots rang out, a legend was born, a legend of a woman who lived by her own rules and paid the ultimate price. Today, over a century later, Mata Hari remains a figure of endless fascination. Was she a victim of her own ambition, a woman who dared to live outside the norms of her time? Or was she, as the French claimed, a master of deception, a dangerous spy who played with the lives of men and nations? The truth may be lost to history, but the story of Mata Hari endures, a testament to the enduring allure of mystery and the tragic consequences of living a life in the shadows. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of one of history's most enigmatic figures. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of the world's most intriguing and misunderstood legends. Until next time, remember, every legend is born from the shadows.